evening, everybody. Matt Geary here for Geek Pride's Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition campaign, The Legend of Our Sacrifice. We're back after a bit of a hiatus while people did things and stuff. But with me tonight, as always, we have Michael as Tharval.
Good evening, everyone.
Wes as Valishal Nostius.
Hey, everyone.
Dave as Thomas Moonstar.
Evening all.
Mark as Lance.
We were on a break.
And Pete as Draken.
Good evening, everyone.
So, right, gentlemen. I'm assuming most people have fully forgotten what we were doing.
Squid in a cage.
Yeah.
Squid in a cage.
Yeah. So I will give a quick update on what sort of kind of went on in the last session, and then some of the Discord chat that we had, the RPG stuff we had on there. So you escaped. Well, you dealt with the subterranean menace that was the Mind Flayer cult, effectively the cult of Slackrathel. And you find Tharval, who sort of appeared through a portal, pretty beaten up, with his brother in tow, and you have then made your way back to Taunt with a prisoner. The said prisoner is a Mind Flayer who was gagged and sort of sent off with the guards. Now, as you've all sort of kind of rested, sorted your stuff out, Thomas and Sally have taken themselves off to the library to do some research. Draken has then taken himself off on a whim, as is Draken's way, to talk to the captive. As he's got down there, he's got this sense of pity for the creature in the cell. It's very hard for him to describe because he's never maybe felt that for one of his enemies before, but he starts feeling this, part of him feels like he loves this thing for some reason. He's not sure why these strong feelings are appearing. He then realizes that, or assumes that whoever's in the jail cell is in fact his queen. He sees clear as day that his queen is in the cell. He then basically demands that the guards open up the cell and let her out, because it's how dare you sort of lock up one of the royalty from my clan, especially with the past from Dragonborns basically being an oppressed race within Freya. As he's sort of kind of about to do this, Lance sort of kind of saunters downstairs and is like, whoa, what are you doing? And has to basically try and sort of knock him out of it. I'm not sure, did you have a scuffle or did you just try and persuade him?
I think we had a bit of a scuffle, didn't we?
Yeah.
We didn't have a scuffle, we rather did intimidation off, basically.
Yeah, so you had an intimidation off, that's right. And then I think Draken snaps out of it, and then realizes that it isn't the queen. This upsets him slightly more, so he punches out the Mind Flayer, who then sort of now is unconscious on the ground of the cell, and the guards are standing there like, what the fuck has just happened?
Basically, when Draken enters rage, charm and fear no longer work on him, and basically things did not go well for the Mind Flayer at that point.
Yeah, so I
locked the Mind Flayer in there and walked off with the key.
Yeah.
Try and keep him from killing it.
Now you do and sort of just a reminder, you have sort of you felt you had a dream, didn't you, before you went down there, and it was like, I can't change my Discord without sort of Can somebody just have a quick lift at it, because I can't change it without moving your pictures. But basically says something along the lines, yeah, I think you had a dream, and you felt this sort of kind of very sharp pain in your eye.
Just trying to look at the moment.
I'm drawing a blank on that one.
It should be just before the bits where he sort of just before the bits where he goes down down to the cell. Well, let's see. I'll just flick off and see if I can find it quickly here. Oop, there we go. So that's Thomas's stuff. It'll be me. Let's launch. Guards, hesitate. There you go.
With the sore head, with the pain behind his eye.
Yes, that's it. Night passes. That's right. The night passes with deep sleep and meditation. That is for all Bardraken. You wake up mid-evening in a pain in your eye and a headache that seems to throb and then dissipate. Putting it down to a stressful day and killing your enemies, you fall back asleep. Yes. So
Yeah,
that.
thank you. I forgot about that.
Yes. So so. There we go, and that's pretty much it. So Thomas has gone to the library with Sally. Thomas, you're by all means, you can sort of inform them of what you've learned, and pretty much go from there. Dave, are you there? Are you seem
No, I'm here.
Okay.
I am here. Hold on. So Thomas walks in. So where are we? Are we in the? Are we in the dungeon? Or are we in the?
I don't know if you'll know they've gone down to the dungeon or not. So I guess it's up to
No, I
probably
won't. So I should imagine I'll walk into the
Something to me, didn't you?
the restaurant. Did I?
Yes.
Did you leave him? So after you knocked out the mind flayer, both of you are down there with the mind flayer. Thomas and Sally went to the thing.
Okay.
Tharval and Val are doing what
they crossed over with me, but they didn't.
Yeah, you were twirling a keyring on your fingertip as you were heading off somewhere. So
away from Draken, to stop him from doing something unfortunate.
So Thomas finds Lance and Tharaval and just highlights or gives highlights of the trip to the library with a new ritual that I've found, which using the Enlightened of Slackrathel can open portals between, by the looks of it, between Balon and Kibarath.
Yeah.
The path of the Enlightened does tend to turn one into an illithid, which is less than ideal for any of us, really.
What's that?
Mind flayer. Mind flayer.
Mind flayer, yeah. Turns into a mind flayer, which then gives us a connection to the Elder Brain to create portals, which will greatly speed up our travel, with the downside of you're now a mind flayer.
Let me just see if I'll just flick onto this again. What I've said. Here. Yeah, so looking through the Grand Library, a place you've grown quite fond of. Blah blah blah. Okay, so the book is basically a manual for those who had been chosen for the gift and transcended into enlightenment and true form. There's a diagram of a humanoid going through the different steps and how that the less you resist and the better and faster enlightenment can be obtained. It welcomes the new illithid and promises that joining is a road to a better world, and that in the will of Sakrathel all can find enlightenment. As you leaf through its pages, it shares useful tips on building a following, gifting them true sight through the mind flayer tadpole, and using connection to the elder brain to ease transitions and embrace the truth. It then moves on to teach you a transcend illithid to use connection with the elder brain to create portals in a bid to bring about a transition and non-compliant lands. That is it. So yeah, there you go. Any questions about that?
No.
So we have a pet mind flayer, but will he be cooperative?
Yes.
Will, will there
How
be
can
Whether
we
he
make
likes
him
it or not.
cooperative?
will there be enough of him left to be cooperative if we don't keep Draken away from him after the?
So
Could you not raise the dead and then just have him do whatever he needs to?
says the paladin.
Yeah, this is OSC.
Meta. Right, okay, actually, right. So Tharaval, right. Thomas and Sally have come back. I'm assuming Tharaval and Valashul are sort of eating breakfast or something along those lines.
And
Morning
I've
prayer.
rejoined them with my key with the key in tow.
Draken, I'm assuming you're walking upstairs as well after you've knocked them out.
I can more thinking about pouring a bucket of cold water over it and making him up again.
Right, so, okay. So, Draken wants to carry on interrogation. Lance, what's your views on this?
I'm not there. Remember, I walked upstairs with the key to get it away from him in the hopes of dissuading him from doing something unfortunate.
Okay, so you've walked up. So you've walked upstairs with the key. Okay, right. So, Draken, as you're now on your own, and the guards are basically excuse themselves because they really don't want to be sort of kind of left in a situation where they basically say, I'm guessing you can deal with this yourself, and sort of kind of walk out of the room and stuff, leaving you and this mind flayer on its own.
Exit stage away.
Okay, Draken just finds, looks around for some water.
Okay. There's water in the area for prisoners and stuff.
Okay, right. Bucket, throw. Throw the water at it.
So you throw water at the prisoner, and you see this creature sort of kind of tentacled mouth sort of kind of starts to quiver, and it's sort of dark eyes open. Give me what was I making you roll before, by the way? What was it? Was it intelligence or was it
Strength would be nice.
No.
I
What?
think it was wisdom.
Wisdom, yeah, give me a wisdom save.
It was wisdom.
You sure?
Yep.
Okay.
Intelligence,
Ooh.
it's reasoning.
Advantage, because it's just come round and it's really disorientated.
You sort of get that deep pain comes from behind your eye again. You start feeling slightly sick and nauseous. You sort of kind of close your eyes to try and shake it off. As you do, and you open them, your queen is sitting in the jail cell again, looking at you, and she's like, "Draken, open the gate for me."
Now, Draken, given Draken's recent memories of it doing that before, Draken will have some awareness that this thing can do illusions.
Yeah, I'll accept that you're confused by this and why she's there.
Okay. Draken's gonna grab the spear and throw it at it.
You can't. You basically you are struggling with your feelings at this moment in time. You've basically got something in front of you. You've got all these emotions that are sort of kind of flowing through you. You've got something in front of you which you're nearly positive, bar for the fact that you saw a few moments ago that it was something else. Is in your mind is somebody you care about, probably one of the only people you care about in this world. And
in that case, then what Draken will do something that he knows his queen can withstand, but most creatures cannot.
Okay, and what is that?
You breathe fire on her.
You're gonna breathe fire on her?
Dragonborn, including Draken, including his queen, are resistant to fire.
Resistant, but not immune.
Not immune, no, but resistant.
Now, I want you to explain to me in Dragonborn society, in the Golden Mane clan, how would breathing fire on your queen be received?
We had a bit of discussion, actually.
So if you were to walk, if you were as a very loyal member of your tribe, your clan, with the reverence for the queen and what she's brought you and your people, would you have any qualms about, even if she's resistant to it, doing any harm to her?
He would be, not happy about it, but as far as he's concerned, there's something very weird going on.
Yeah, but
guaranteed way a proving identity would be breathing fire on his queen.
I know, but you got to see it this way. Your brain is telling you that it's definitely her. You're just slightly confused by the fact that it wasn't her a few moments ago. Your brain's telling you you're obviously tired and things are.
And also, it tried to do this against Draken a few minutes ago. It's basically repeating the same thing again. So Draken is aware that, it can mess with your mind. What was there can. And for some reason, his queen is there. So it might be his queen, it might not. Well,
okay, I'll give you another wisdom save. You can try and break out. I'll give you, because you're sort of struggling with it, you're arguing with yourself. I'll give you another wisdom save to see if you can sort of break out of it.
That's strength, right?
No. You shake your head again, and you're 100% certain that it's her.
In that case, I better go and get the key.
Yeah, so you're absolutely mortified that she's in there, and you quickly run up after.
Stay right there. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Draken goes off and goes to the keys.
Okay. So as he's sort of kind of ascending the staircase, Tharaval, Valashul, what are you guys up to?
So, Thomas has told us what has happened. He's told us about the portals and things like that. Yeah,
he has. I'm assuming Lance would have sort of. I'm not sure how long you've been up there for. I'm guessing, enough time to let them know what happened down in the cellar, or in the dungeon, basically.
So we know that Draken tried to release.
Yes.
Okay.
And that he's still down there.
So,
nothing to worry about.
Upon hearing the information that Thomas has given on the portals, Tharaval has the realization that the Mind Flayer could, in fact, be useful to open these portals without ourselves having to become an illithid, and therefore realizes the importance that this Mind Flayer is kept alive.
And Draken wants to release it, right?
So
Well, you don't know
He's
that
fine,
yet.
yeah.
As Lance has left him, the mind flayer's unconscious and Draken's about himself.
Okay.
But he doesn't know.
So,
When Draken appears,
Tharavel sort of looks about. Who is all with us at the minute? So
everybody bar Draken.
Okay, so Tharavel looks about and says, "So you've the mind flayer is in his cell.
He's in a cell. Yep.
He's unconscious,
He, as far as you're aware, yes.
and the only person with him is Draken.
Yes.
Does anybody else see a problem with this?"
Well, considering I left him with 2 guards and locked out, that seems like a good place to start with while trying to find you guys.
But we've also just been told that Draken intimidated the crap out of the guards to the point where they handed over the key to him and was ready for.
And I dangled the key. This key?
Ah, thanks.
Oh, yeah. All right. So, yeah, okay, that's a good point. Right. So, as you hold that key up in the air, right, Draken, give me a perception check, Lance. Give me a perception check. Okay, you're okay. And Draken, give me a dexterity at disadvantage because he's aware you're there.
Okay.
Okay. So you go to sort of kind of swipe it out of his hand and say, "I'll take that." He sees you coming like a mile away and just sort of kind of flicks off. You can go from there.
My queen is in there. I need it.
We've had this conversation before. Are you not getting sick of these things getting in your head and turning you into a puppet?
What thing? This is my queen.
The mind flayer. You've already beaten the crap out of it once for doing this trick.
If it was a mind flayer, I would know it.
Excuse me a second, guys. So I get up, quite ostentatiously, slip the key into the pocket on the inside of my tunic, step up close to him and say,
oh no.
"Will you stop being a scaly fucking idiot?"
Right, okay. Draken, you're not impressed by this. 1, because he's insulting you, and 2, because any longer leaving your queen in there is a massive insult to not only you but her as well. So
Draken stands up to his full 7-foot height and just glares at the Warforged and watch your words, Warforged. You do not want to push me. Not now, not ever, and especially not this time. Choose your next words very carefully.
Look at smile, as much as a Warforged can smile. Turn to the others and just hold my hand down and say, just stay out for a second. And I turn back, and I reach up, and yep, hello.
Okay. Yeah, I Draken.
Didn't quite catch that actually.
Come again.
You what? Actually, I didn't quite catch that. Sorry.
He basically has tapped you on the head with his knuckles and went, "Yep, hollow."
I do not understand. Explain that very carefully.
All that seems to be running around between your ears at the moment is that mind flayer, who has convinced you twice in the space of less than an hour that it's your queen, despite the fact you know there's no way your queen could be here, and you dragged that damn thing into the cage. In fact, not 10 minutes ago, when you realised you were being tricked the first time, you beat the living snot out of the damn thing and left it in a puddle on the floor. I locked you out and took the key to stop you from killing it in case we had any reason to keep it alive.
How do we know it's not the Queen now? How do we know it's not portaled out and replaced it with the Queen?
Because at the end of the day, as Thomas has just learned, there are things that are necessary to create that portal. Yes, the Mind Flayer is part of that. And secondly, how the would they get your queen here? We're under a blockade. Most of the kingdom's
Portals?
navy is sitting in another island where our friends have just been. The rest is stuck in port. The merchants won't go anywhere near us. How did she get here?
You hear a voice in your head, sort of echoey, soft voice in your head, telling you that you can't trust these people, that your queen's in great danger, and that if she's not released soon, then she may be killed.
People were put behind bars once already. We saw how that ended. We know the Mind Flayers can portal, teleport. What is to say they're doing this right now to encourage, to bring about our demise once more?
Okay, let's ask a very simple question here. I'll try to use short words for you at the moment, because you're obviously compromised.
Okay, Jackin's just going to grab the key off him.
Okay, cool. Roll. Okay, roll. How are we going to do this?
Entering rage and just going to grab the key.
Can I try something just before you do that?
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Not that one. Sorry, wrong spell. That one.
The spell creates an invisible, mindless, shapeless medium force that performs simple tasks at your command until the spell ends. The servant springs into existence in an occupied space. Once of each turn, bonus action, you can mentally command the servant to move up to... So what are you going to do with this thing?
Steal the key.
Say it again?
Steal the key.
So you're going to steal the key off Lance?
While they're arguing and Lance is distracted, it's going to slip a hand inside the jerkin and take the key.
Okay. Does it have any stats? This thing?
Yeah, it does. It says there.
Yeah, not very many. Got an
One hit
AC of
point,
10,
strength
1
2.
hit point, and a strength of 2.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you're going to have some sort of dexterity to sort of steal something, aren't you?
Servant can perform single tasks the servant could do, such as fetching things, cleaning, mending, folding clothes, lighting fires, serving food, and pouring wine. Once you give the command, the servant performs the task.
I don't know if you're going to be able to.
I'd assume it would have the same dex as the caster.
Okay then. All right, roll me a dexterity then.
Okay. Oh dear.
I will give you advantage because he's distracted. Your sort of kind of shadowy figure comes up and Lance is completely sort of ensconced with the whole sort of kind of argument with Draken and doesn't see this key being his key being taken from his jacket. As that it goes back to your side, giving it to you, Draken.
It's going to Sally, but yeah.
Yeah. Draken and Lance are about to come to blows, so Draken, roll. Actually, both of you roll for initiative, I guess.
Okay.
Tonight on Box Office. The fight you've all been waiting for.
Yeah.
Oh, you haven't got a.
Ooh.
I think 1 minute. Well, yeah. Sorry, just do it. So, Draken. So Draken. It's definitely going first. Okay, so
I hadn't selected the turn track. I hadn't selected a token because there isn't a token to select.
So do you get any bonuses?
Well, Draken's
I
got a
do.
crit anyway,
So
so
Draken's got a crit. He got a 23, and it's a nat 20. So he's critted. So I'm assuming it doesn't really matter because even if you had any bonuses, he's gonna win out on the crit.
Unless I created as well, which I haven't.
And you haven't. Okay, so Draken, what are you doing first then? What's your action?
Grabbing the key.
So you're going for the key.
Yep.
So roll me a dex then, I guess.
Strength because it's grabbing.
Dex, who's trying to find.
You're trying to find it.
It's inside. It's inside my jerkin.
Yeah, you're
I
trying
know
to.
where it is.
Or so are you?
I know what it
It
is.
depends on if you're going to try and rip his jerkin off him. Yeah, I guess you could use
Yeah.
strength. Okay, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're going to try and rip his jerkin off him, rip his
Okay.
clothes.
jerkin is jerkin.
You're jerking his jerkin.
Okay. Right, this will be for advantage because it's in strength. Okay, yeah, 28.
Yeah, I'm guessing it's just sort of kind of normal cloth and stuff. It's not armor or anything. You basically rip his clothes from him, and hold them in your hand.
Okay, and look for the key.
Obviously there's no key there.
Where is the key?
Lance, you've got your action now. What are you gonna do after he's ripped your clothes from you?
Well, I think at this point in time, having been appropriately pissed off because I've been through this once before,
You buy right thing.
I'm going to crack him one.
Okay, what's your armor, Draken?
My armor is 20.
And are you on a -5 with that, by the way?
What for?
Oh, I'm not you, Lance.
Oh.
I'm just checking that because there's a modifier.
Not gonna matter anyway because he's not gonna make the hit.
Okay, so you sort of kind of swing at him, and Draken sort of ducks out of the way. Does anybody else want to try and do anything before I move on to the next sort of bit?
Sorry, so are Val and Tharval
Arval are in
the
the room.
Yeah,
Oh,
you're there when it happens.
all there.
Yeah, you're all
I
there.
just asked him to step back.
We're all
when I
there.
tried to get him angry enough to realise he was being an idiot,
Yeah.
and it didn't work.
So we're not actually in the cell at the minute.
No, you're all upstairs together.
No, we're all in the breakfast room.
He came up to
Okay.
find us in the breakfast room.
Draken is now enraged.
Valashul stands up and tries to get between the pair of them.
Okay. Are you saying anything or?
I'm trying to think of what to say. He doesn't say anything. He's just like, stop this bickering, you two. Like, cut it out. Like, save it for the enemy.
Tharavel?
Yeah, Tharval's gonna pick up a chair and just try and batter him over the head with it.
Batter Draken over the head with it? Okay. Right.
So-
Wait, hold on.
Valashul-
I'm trying to think. Wait, hold on. Do I want to do this? No. I'm gonna. What can I throw at him?
Some bread.
I'm gonna throw the. I'll throw up. There's bound to be like cutlery and stuff on that. Like, so I'm gonna throw some sort of jug, something that's sort of heavy enough that it'll do damage, but I can still use as a finesse.
Okay. Okay. Roll it then.
Shit. So am I just rolling a?
Just roll. Just roll a normal sort of kind of attack, but you don't get any. You won't get any sort of pluses or minuses.
A dexterity then? Just
Yeah,
do a
yeah.
dexterity then. Yeah.
Yep. So you throw this sort of jug at Draken, which cracks him on the head. Give me a guess D8 damage. See how much damage it does.
It's just to try and clunk him out a bit. D8. 1d8.
Yeah, just sort of. He sort of kind of it sort of glances at you slightly, but isn't overly.
It doesn't break his concentration or anything like that, or.
So Draken, I would say you are suitably enraged at this moment in time.
Yeah.
Roll me another wisdom with advantage.
Okay. Oh, now we're getting an
You know, partially because of the jug clouding you on the head, and partially because the rage within you seems to be sort of kind of ironically clearing your mind more. You start to sort of realize that what is in the cell is not what you thought it was, and that maybe you were mistaken.
Okay, Draken shakes his head a few times, snorts flame, looks around at everyone slowly, then hands the jerkin back to Lance. I think this is yours.
That's great. I'm thinking that you're going to be helping with the cost of a seamstress, though.
Yeah, Lance, are you happy enough to forgive?
I just turned to him and say, I think we need to invest in something to help you to how should we put this? Be a little bit more resilient to people muddling around in your mind, because this is starting to become a bit wearing.
I find fire helps very well in that.
Okay. So, sort of Val's sort of standing in between you and stuff. It's all ever so slightly tense, but you kind of realize that his mind's being fucked with, and it isn't his fault. So where are you going from there?
So I'm going to turn around and say, did someone want to tell me what happened to the key that I put in my pocket?
Don't look at me.
Too late.
Well, there's no point in me looking at Draken. I know he doesn't have it. So and Belishul's not that delicate. So I just turn to Thomas and say, anything you would like to share with the group?
Arunvol would deny it anyway.
Yeah, well, Zaravol was kind of had his hands full, and Thomas has been strangely quiet, which is unusual for him. So I figure he's got something to hide.
There was a physical fight breaking out. Thomas was staying very quiet and hoping no one noticed him.
That doesn't usually stop you from opening your mouth, friend.
No. I sit there and look just as puzzled as everyone else before Sally breaks into a sly grin and holds up a key saying, "Was this what you were looking for?"
I reach over and take it
Stranger
from her
apprentice
and
well, mage.
say, I think that you're picking up some bad habits from your mentor, but I'm quite happy you did in this case. Just please do me a favour and be careful when you indulge these impulses of yours, just in case they make you a target, because you're ill-equipped to take arrows or fireballs, for example.
Whilst I agree with you, Warforged, it does seem that had I not interjected, the Dragonborn would have the key and would no doubt be on his way to the cells by now.
As I said, in this instance it was a good idea. I'm just warning you that you shouldn't let this success stop you from evaluating in future whether you want to make yourself a target and the possible outcomes. Because in some situations this is going to be a good idea, and this was in this case. In other situations, some of the things we deal with may be a little bit less discriminate. And
I thank you for your advice. I'll take it under advisement.
Tharavel taps Sally on the back, sort of pats her on the back and says, "We'd make a good rogue, this one. Just don't admit it next time."
Yeah.
As long as she's not going to turn into a bard, that's all I can say.
Okay, so mini crisis over. The rest of the diners in the breakfast hall are sort of looking at you all slightly weirdly, but sort of kind of carry on with their foods. What are you doing?
I want to go downstairs again and have another word with this mind flayer and teach them proper respect.
Can I make
Before
a
anybody sort of walks off, Tharavel sort of said, "Right, hold on a second. It's been 2 times in an hour that this mind flayer has taken advantage of the weaker minds in the room. I would not want to put myself in the sort of area of effect of this foe, and therefore I suggest that only the more intelligent, stronger minds approach, or he looks at Thomas, if there is anything that you could possibly do to possibly have a sort of mind prison on this person, on this foe. They're in a physical cage, but the physical is not what we need to worry about at the minute.
Consciousness.
As you sort of you're talking this, Evelyn, who is sort of sitting, who's been sitting beside Ceravel, gets up and says, if I may speak, please. I believe your friend has been infected.
Infected by which? By what? Please elaborate.
When I saw this happen with many people when I was captive by this cult, they use these things to bring their foes, so to bring their new acolytes enlightenment, as they call them. They're tadpoles of some sort. They place them on their eyes, and they burrow into the victim's brain, slowly changing them into one of those creatures.
I believe myself and Ceravel encountered numerous numbers of these tadpoles that you speak of. I was attacked by multiple tadpoles in the caves below. Do you know of anybody who had any of these extracted, or how they were removed?
She says she doesn't know. All she knows that is you may need to check. You and her beloved will need to be looked at. As she looks very worriedly at Ceravel, who seems completely sort of nonchalant about it. It's just no, I'm fine. But she says this mind control is the first. This mind control and this delusion is one of the first steps to transformation, and it seems to me, and I could be wrong, but your friend here I believe, has been infected by one of these tadpoles.
Is there any way that we can remove it that you know of, or is it not something
She,
that came up?
she, you know, she doesn't know. In the end, she had she saw people being infected by these things, but she, you know,
Never saw
you would never see anything get removed.
Look at Thomas and
yeah, Thomas. Maybe you need to do a bit more research then, and we need to keep you away from this thing, Draken, because exposure could cause you to be affected more strongly. If there's a chance of infection, then obviously you and your brother Tharav will need to be careful. It's all well and good saying not, but we can't be sure.
Draken, Evelyn says, you will have a connection to what they call the elder brain. There wasn't a point where you sort of I think in your dream where you sort of saw yourself in a room, didn't you, Draken? There was another part where you saw yourself in a room with let me just check the Discord here quickly. Where are we? There was another part of it. You feel sense of pity and dare I say love coursing through your body of this creature. Was dear to you. Rage puts a stop to this quickly, although that's the wrong bit. Is it further up, maybe? That's about your queen. That's Draken kneeling to the mind flayer. Oh, by the way, I'm loving the fact that in Black Adam he says, "I kneel to no gods." Man, no, it's just thinking Draken. It's Draken. You pain dissipates again, and once you mind flayer see a visage of the Queen beyond, you get. I'm sure there was something I said. So basically, you saw a vision. I'm just trying. Where is it? I can't find it. Okay, so basically, you've seen you saw a vision of a room. You know, because you said you were going to attack it. But basically, you saw this brain. You saw these sort of you saw a room. You saw a room with obviously the mind flayers around. You saw this big brain within it, and then it sort of kind of changed. So she basically says you have a psychic connection to this. You have a psychic connection to this whatever controls you. It's like a hive mind.
Just looking blankly at her.
Yeah, and she says maybe this could be of use while it's still weak inside you.
I can just looking at her completely bewildered, having no clue what she's talking about.
Okay, what about the rest of his?
Jackson?
If these tadpoles are what creates an illithid mind, then possibly they can be seen as an illithid themselves, and therefore could possibly be used to open these portals.
But the worry is that if they have that connection, the activating the portals will strengthen the connection, hence the warning that people can become illithids. That could be a a risky thing to do.
It's still an option to have in our arsenal, I would suppose. Not
Bottom of the list, though.
yes.
Okay, so
right. So
what's the plan next? What are you sort of thinking?
if I can suggest something, at the moment, we know that it can compromise Draken. No offense, but it's true, Draken. That's twice in less than an hour. It has managed to overcome you, and only once you've become enraged enough have you managed to block it out, and you've come very close to releasing it twice now. There is a risk that the brothers here may have been infected by the same things and just not been affected yet. If we're going to find a cure for it, at some point we'll need to do some more research into these tadpoles. But in the meantime, might I suggest myself and Thomas interrogate it, and that the rest of you and Val, along with Val, and then the rest of you stay up here out of the way in order to try and avoid being compromised. Yeah.
I do not like it, but you talk sense.
I suggest that Ceravel and myself speak to a professional of these matters who might actually be able to give us more information as to what these are and what can be done about them.
Possibly Draken could accompany you.
Perhaps our paladin friend could escort you to the temple to see if there's any healing magic that could potentially help you.
I would suggest that Val stay with us in the hopes that he is the most resistant of us to the darkness of these things' abilities.
Yeah, I think Val also, through justice and honor and stuff like that, he wanted to have one captured and stuff anyway and stuff. So I doubt he'd want to sort of leave.
Then it's settled. We go find out about the things in our brains, and you go find about the thing in the cell. Okay, let's go.
Right. Okay. So, where do you want to go? Where are you thinking you want to go then?
I'm trying to think of the people that could possibly help. So, I don't think a straightforward healer doctor is going to. Well, somewhere to start.
You may have to do some research on it beforehand. Bear in mind, they're trying to find somebody who has any knowledge about this just on a sort of kind of jaunt around the city is probably not going to happen very quickly and stuff. So you may have to sort of kind of try and find some texts or something about it before you sort of kind of go off to try and find the appropriate person to help you.
Tharaval sort of
means take Sally with you.
Or you're going with the other ones. Yeah?
That being said, Thomas, if they're thinking about going to a library again, are you sort of?
I was going to say, Thomas, do you want to go to the library?
I'm very torn.
I've got an idea. We eat lots of ice cream for brain freeze, and that sorts it.
What is this? What is this cream of ice you speak of, Draken?
Oh, just trust me, you'll really dig it. But you're really cold ice cream and get brain freeze. Problem solved.
Bron and Jarrett's.
Very good. Right, so Thomas, you interrogating? You going to the library?
I'm interrogating to start with. I will head to the library afterwards.
Okay.
Can we have what's her face?
Sally.
Sally.
What's her...
Yeah, you can take Sally.
what's her? Because she's got stats. What's her? What are things like? What's she got? She's quite low level, isn't she?
She's quite low level. She's not
Yeah,
she's not as skilled as investigation as I am, which means she probably won't spill as much ink on the books.
She's still. Hold on, what's my I don't think my investigation's good. Oh no, it's still better than hers.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Actually, my
-1.
investigation's not too bad.
Okay, so we'll just do that. So Draken, Ceravel, Tharaval, Evelyn.
Sorry, it's not. It's Ceravel's investigation is good. My investigation's bad.
Oh, okay. You all go off to sort of go to the library. Yeah. Okay. So you all go off to the library. Evelyn says, she's going to be okay there and stuff, and Ceravel's not wanting to sort of kind of leave her on her own, so drags her along with them. Sally can go with them if you want her to, but she's more interested. She's more interested in staying with you, I think, because
I think she probably is,
Yeah.
and she'll want to see how turning research into action works.
Yeah, I'd say she would as well. Yeah. So she stays with you. She's like, I don't.
And she's probably hoping that I'll beat the shit out of the mind flayer while she brings.
She says, I don't want to go with them. I'm going to stay with you, Master.
As you wish. Let's go.
Right, so you take yourselves down to the cells. Val, Thomas, Lance, and Sally rest off to the library. I'm assuming the cell's probably faster to get to, so we will do that first. So you walk down to the cell, and you see this sort of creature basically cross-legged and sort of kind of meditating in the middle of the cell. It sort of, as you walk down, it opens its eyes and looks at you, and sort of tilts its head slightly. It doesn't say anything. It just sort of kind of carries on with its meditation.
I take the flail out from my pack, and dragging it along the floor. I walk up to the bars and say, "I'm very sorry, but someone seems to have misplaced your crown. Possibly we could get that back to you if you were to maybe answer a few questions for us."
Is it an intimidation? Roll me intimidation. He stays put, and doesn't move.
I'm gonna slap it one.
It's okay.
Yes, but it's less than 30 feet inside a cage, so I can slap it.
I am
one.
asking the questions now.
Well, that's friendlier than I was gonna do.
We've got good cop, bad cop, worse cop. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me see, birth woman. So the mage hand sort of birth woman. I need a. I'm fine.
It can't attack.
It's not an
Hand
attack.
cannot attack.
It's getting its attention. If a slap is an attack, you can slap someone to knock them out, and that's not right.
Can I refer you back to that bar fight when we first met, when I slapped someone on top of the head and knocked them out in one blow?
No, you may not.
Where's it?
I know it's going back a couple of years now, but
Yeah, 2 years now, 2 years
Actually
now,
is.
gents. Yeah. Time flies when you're raiding dungeons and setting off traps. And why the fuck's that not? Oh,
Spiders are following you.
I know what I've done. Done this wrong thing. Where are we? There we go. Right, so...
Okay. The DM whether I can slap him with a mage hand or not.
Just about to... Okay. As you sort of cast mage hand to go in, this a second hand appears, and basically this thumb war kind of breaks out in front of the the mind flayer. You can see a malicious smile appear on the mind flayer's face as both of the hands disappear.
Valishul gives one right back and pulls a metal dragon's head that was holding his cape in place free, and it's clearly a symbol of Bahamut, and he offers it to Thomas and says, "Can you warm this up for me?" And kind of smirks at Thomas, like, use your magic to heat it up nice and hot, very hot. And then who's got the key?
That would be Lance. Lance, I think, has it. Yeah.
I take it back. As they're doing this, as they turn to me, I negligently flick the flail towards the folded legs of the mind flayer.
To hit him, or just in between him and stuff?
Sorry?
To hit him, or just sort of in front of him, or where?
I'm intending to scare the living bejesus out.
Okay, roll me.
Casino Royale with a flail.
Okay, and roll me intimidation.
Sorry, I know what the -5 was for now. It's the Great Weapon Master thing. I've just turned it off.
Okay.
And intimidation, yeah.
Yeah, roll me intimidation.
Oh, nice.
Okay, so the you can. He tries to sort of be unintimidated, but you know this ball sort of kind of lunging towards his sort of nether regions breaks him out of his sort of kind of composed demeanor as he sort of kind of quickly jumps up and falls back towards the back of the cell.
I see that you have decided to stop pissing about. Now, we'd like to have a little chat with you. Obviously, you don't have to answer our questions, but if you go staring around inside our brains, or if you try to mess us about, I won't aim to miss next time.
You hear a voice in your head saying, "What is it you want?"
Did anybody
Is that in
else hear
everyone's? Yeah.
Just in Lance's head.
Valishul
I
shakes
cock
his
my
head at
turn
Lance.
to the others and say, apparently he prefers to talk in my head rather than to us.
What does vicious mockery do, by the way, Thomas? I think Dave.
Vicious mockery.
Yeah, he's got vicious mockery.
That's fantastic.
That's one to know. I can't remember what it does.
That armor makes you look fat.
Oh.
There.
Vicious.
It doesn't conjure up a Canadian comedian, no?
No.
Okay.
No, it basically you throw you throw a string of insults at somebody, but using magic you enhance the words, which it needs a wisdom saving throw, or if it fails, it takes psychic damage.
The ice guy says, "I love me some vicious mockery." It's all about vicious mockery.
It's basically gaslighting.
Yeah, pretty much.
So,
He's got
what
other
level
stuff.
is
He's
the-
got other stuff here, which I probably wouldn't use. He can technically meld into stone and stone shape and stuff, but I think that might be too easy. But yeah.
So, apparently, the pen is mightier than the sword.
The ice guy says it also gives disadvantage on their next turn if they fail to save.
If they fail, yeah. Disadvantage on their next attack roll, yeah.
I use it on my bard. We've got a bard. We've got a bard. The question is, Ice Geist, how many NPCs have you slept with? Anyway, carry on.
Just go with how many NPCs you not?
How many NPCs have you not slept with? Okay.
How many of them have been mind flayers?
Yeah.
Oh dear. Anyway, so since he is actually talking to me, I turn back and say, "How about we start off with a simple one? How should I put this? Are there any more of your kind left in the city that we have missed?"
He sort of kind of looks at you with his dark eyes and says, "Maybe. Many. Maybe few. Maybe none. You'll never know. We are Legion. We will grant the gift to this world. We will grant the gift to this land. And all this darkness, all this false gods will be gone, and the Enlightenment will bring greatness to this entire region."
You're
He said that.
Can we hear that?
Yeah,
Is he saying it telepathically?
he said it to him. He said it.
Fuck. Okay.
okay. So we're going with the arrogance and confidence thing, in spite of the fact that no one's come to rescue you while you've been in here for a little while. That's a pretty good start. So let's try something a bit different, shall we? Carry the 5. If one, I could go with the vicious, nasty threats, but that's a little bit boring after a little while.
Right.
How about we go with something simple, like I tag out and I tag in the pissed off paladin.
Yes, please.
Okay, so you sort of kind of shrug your shoulders and back off as a
Oh no, I'm full on fist bumping down the shoulders. I step back.
So is the cage open? Can I go in?
No, it's
Cage is locked.
not. But I'm not sure if you're giving them the key or not. Are you
Lance, the key, please.
Since you asked nicely.
Valishor unlocks the cage and steps inside while drawing out Holy Avenger. He
Adelaide,
steps up.
Adelaide says tag ? Right.
He steps up to the mind flayer and grabs one of the tendrils that on his face, and then presses the blade
Shake.
of Holy Avenger against it, and casts Divine Smite to try and burn him with holy energy.
Okay, nice. Okay, yeah. Okay. Are you saying anything, or are you just walking in? Are you just doing that?
This is but a taste of what I'll do to your spawn pools when I find them.
Okay. Roll. Yeah. I suppose it just automatically happens, doesn't it? You sort of walk in. The mind flayer is sort of initially looking quite confident and cocky, but as you advance on him in your full armor and a sword drawn, he backs off and starts to sort of kind of move towards the wall. You grab the tentacle, cutting one off, and then as you do so, blasting him with the divine smite. You hear this enormous sort of shriek coming from the mind flayer, as he sort of kind of cowers and drops to the ground. You're left holding a part of a tentacle.
I turn to the others and say, "Calamari," and then I
Right.
toss
Need
it
a hell
at
of a lot of lemons for that.
So Sally's going to use the message cantrip and send a message to Valashul that says, "Remember, we need him alive."
just in the back of his head.
Yeah.
We need him alive.
Okay,
He'll
so
be alive.
yeah, so Val, carry on with your interrogation.
So Val then looks down at him and says, "Are you going to answer the questions, or do I need to take off another?"
Roll me intimidation with advantage. Yep. He sort of you see that inky sort of well, you don't actually see any blood because you've basically cauterized it with the divine smite. He nods his head. He nods his head, and you can see whatever defiance was in him is gone.
Valashul begrudgingly sheaths his sword and steps back and says, "I was hoping for more." Lance, continue your questioning.
I just shake my head and laugh and say, "It's amazing how quickly they crumple when you smite them in the face." But yes, thank you very much, my friend. Let's start with a fairly important one for the time being. I understand that you and your kind left something of a set of presents behind under the city. I would like to know a little bit more about them, more specifically where they are and how we destroy them. Of course, I could be tempted to just start with one, but ultimately at some point we need to deal with that particular surprise before someone opens it for us. And given that the option you have is somewhere between tell us what we want to know or getting yourself smited to pieces while I smash you in what's left of your shriveled up bollocks with my flail, I'd advise you on becoming very talkative.
So what are the main questions you're asking him?
So, I wanted to go with where are the little surprises that they left in the sewers, and how do we destroy them?
The seeds have been planted here by our acolytes. They are all over this land. In the water, we have planted many. He seems somewhat reticent to tell you how they are destroyed. He sort of...
I turn to Val and say, I think he's got a little something on his face that needs to come off.
He says, he's like, no. He's like, you will be the death of me if I tell you this. The Elder Brain will kill me.
We'll be the death of you if you don't tell us this. And I can promise you, we can be very creative if we need to be, especially after all the friends that your disciples have cost us and those that you're allied with. We are distinctly badly regarding you and anyone that looks like you at the moment. We've beaten a few of you up. We've pureed a few. I'd say that we've got some time to
Racist.
get really creative.
He's like, they only activate with the progenitor in vicinity. They are easily destroyed like any egg, like any seed, but they will be activated when my people invade this land, and they will invade this land, and we will bring enlightenment to all of you. There are
And how do you plan to do that?
there are too many of them for you to get them all. One seed on its own will bring about the end to this civilization and the rise of our own.
Just a matter of interest. What happens to these seeds if they're on fire?
You idiot. Fire in water? I am no scientist, but I believe that water and fire do not go well together.
You have some very creative people, and that sounds like the sort of challenge they'd probably be quite interested in. And obviously, you're thinking about fire in the normal sense. We have a few magicians that owe us a few favors, or that owe our patron a few favors as well. And I was intrigued. After all, it may not be direct fire as well. We might just boil them until they're dead. There's some interesting things we can get up to if we're creative. You know, for example, I don't know, lopping off facial tentacles with smite spells. Or
it's just like he looks at you, he's just like, I am dead now anyway. You have killed me already. You can do as you wish. I have told you all that you need to know, but this is not going to change anything. This land is going to fall. You can destroy as many eggs as you find, but I do not think you have time before the end to get them all.
I turned to Valishal and say, did we not have a variation on this discussion with another god a couple of weeks back? Didn't he have a really bad day? Or was it just a demon prince? I lose track. You know, it's they're all a bit big and scary when they're angry, but they get a bit quiet when you cut them off in their prime. And I flick with the flail at his at the kneecap.
His kneecap. Or I could roll for it. The Ice Geist, have a good one, man. Enjoy your session, and cheers for stopping in. Much appreciated. Okay, so the flail hits his kneecap and buckles him to the ground. You hear another squeal. You hear another sort of scream. As you do so, he starts to laugh. It's like, you have no idea what you are doing, what you are dealing with. You are fools. You are carrying for the vulture that is to come and pick from your bones. This land will fall. And as he says that, his brain just goes and explodes, and covers both of you in this sort of inky blue sort of kind of ichor.
Yeah. Valishal turns away and grimaces, flicking the goop from his armor.
I kind of wipe my face off and turn to Valishal, just lean in and say, "You've got a little something on your nose." Flick a little bit of tentacle off.
Valishal uses a clean part of his cloak to wipe his face.
So, not quite what we'd hoped for, but we got some information before the whole brain exploding thing. So, they need a progenitor to activate the seeds, which I presume means that when they make an incursion to invade, the seeds themselves are going to be hard to find, but they are fragile. But if they're planted in the sewers, then that might give us something that we can work with some help from some creative tinkerers and magicians.
We've already been through the sewers once. We didn't find much.
Yeah, but we don't know how big the seeds are. That's the thing. A seed can be.
You weren't looking
quite
for any.
small.
You weren't looking for anything and stuff. You were just sort of wandering.
But I mean, obviously, we'll need to get someone to clean up in here now because that's a bit gross. We do know as well that for all that they're part of a hive mind, they can be persuaded. They have enough individuality to feel pain and respond to it, which could come in handy later on. If I might suggest at this point, we need to divide our efforts. We need to figure out what's going on with these things inside our colleagues' heads, so that we can try and free them from the possibility of being influenced. Because I don't know about you, I'm getting a little bit tired of Draken trying to beat me up. It gets a bit wearing after a little while.
Yeah.
I nod emphatically.
So,
yeah.
Might I suggest that since they've gone to seek help outside, possibly Thomas could return to the library? In the meantime, we do need to brief the lady, so if Valashore would like to join me, then we can catch up Lady Tont on this and see if she has any ideas or insight.
Val nods his head and then holds out his hand to Thomas to retrieve the dragon-headed brooch back.
Thomas hands the brooch back. I look to Sally and say, looks like we're needed in the library. Can you show me the quickest way there? Yeah, all right, Governor, let's go.
He hands you back the brooch, which is red hot, obviously because you gave it to him to you gave it to him to heat up. So he hands you it back, and it burns. You drop it straight away. It burns your hand.
Can I chuck one of them at it as I hand it him back?
Ray of Frost. Okay, you see, it's sort of
just to cool it down a bit.
Yeah, you sort of give it back, and it sort of freezes it, cools it down. Okay, so off to the library. Draken, Ceravel, and Tharavel.
Oh shit.
So what are you? So you walk into the library. What are you looking at? What are you looking for?
What would we be looking for?
I'm just looking a bit bewildered at all these books. He doesn't really do books and research.
Intimidating a book isn't very effective.
He's good at hitting the books, but they don't. Yeah, people get upset when he does that.
Tharavel walks to the bookkeeper or the whatever you call them, the librarian.
Librarian, yeah.
And describes what the tadpoles that he's seen, and asks the librarian if they could suggest what section or possibly any books that would be of any use to find out more about them.
Librarian sort of kind of looks at you oddly. Don't think I've ever heard of anything like that. You could try nature, mythology, possibly history. I'm assuming nature, but I've never heard of anything like that, and I'm quite knowledgeable about most things, and it's the first I've heard of it. But I guess there may be some older books I've not read that may contain something about that. Some of the history texts might sort of mention it.
These tadpoles don't appear to be of a everyday natural occurrence in the sort of or a sort of nature sense. They would probably be more of a arcana based being.
I try mythology and maybe the I try mythology and maybe the mystic arts section. It's in the corner over there. I guess it might have sort of mention of them in some history texts as well, but I would try with mythology first and maybe the mystic arts section.
What really is a master of the mystic arts?
We will head to the mythology and mystic arts section.
Okay, so who's going to mythology? Who's going to mystic arts?
I think Tharval and Serval are going to remain together. Tharval's aware that his this is not his forte.
I don't read too well.
And it's Draken's.
Yeah, so
Draken can come with. We have time.
So Draken, are you all going together then to one section?
Is Sally with Draken?
No, Sally's with
Sally's with me.
Sally's with Thomas.
Okay, I think we all sit together because there's no way Draken. Actually, no, Draken is going to go to the other section on just for the giggles. He's going to try and do books.
Just as you're sort of about to walk off to the history section, the librarian says, Master Dragonborn, might I ask, and I apologize for if I'm being rude, but to restrain any potential conflagrations. These are all very rare books, and I am aware that your kind, when enraged, can set fire to things. So if you could please try and...
You have nothing to be worried about. If I get enraged, trust me, I'll hit it with an axe instead. So don't worry, there'll be no fire. It'll be lots of axe swing. So don't worry about that.
She
walks off.
She looks very sort of confused, but sort of walks back, sort of kind of doesn't know if that's the answer she wants, but she sort of kind of walks off and sort of just carries on.
Promise that there will be no fires.
Okay.
Nothing about an axe.
Okay, so Tharaval and Ceravel, you're in the Mystic Arts section. Roll me an investigation roll. I'll give you advantage. You go through most of the books in the area. You spend quite a long time there, and you don't find anything that relates to these things that you're looking for. You do, or do you? No, you don't. You don't find anything.
It goes a waste of a crit roll. On to the next section, I suppose.
Right, so that's gonna have taken you a fair bit of time to go through all those books. Draken, you're in the history section. You're not really sure what you're looking for or what you're doing, but just roll investigation.
Intimidation, gotcha.
Our books.
Okay.
It appears to be a book, sir.
You sort of kind of walk around. You see just these books which you're not really, you read, but you're just like, you're just not too bothered about wordy, verbose things, and you sort of kind of pick up a book. Like, you don't even know if it's the right way up. You're sort of kind of turning it
He's
around.
got 13.
Turn-
That's not terrible.
Turning it around, and you're sort of kind of like, yeah, nothing here. You sort of kind of, you don't really see anything of any note, and you just sort of wander off.
Draken keeps looking.
Okay, so in the time that both of these lot have sort of been looking through their sections, Thomas and Sally sort of appear in the library. You see Tharaval and Ciravel in the Mystic Art section, and you see sort of Draken sort of poking books and sort of kind of generally not being too overly interested about sort of what's going on, not being able to really, looking more confused than anything.
Okay, so I'll wave to Tharaval and head straight over to Draken and my friend, can I assist? What are you looking for?
Books.
Good. Anything in particular in these books?
Information.
Excellent. Why don't you take a seat? I will see what I can find information in these books. Okay. I'll start explain to Sally what we're looking for in the history of Balon and Freya. Have you found any accounts of these tadpoles and their effects on the populace?
Okay. Draken sort of like looks at you and says, "You don't need to look here. I've looked already. There's nothing here."
Look, nothing here. We want the nature section because that's all about frogs.
If you don't mind, I would just like to double check just to satisfy my own curiosity.
Okay, I'll help.
All right, roll me investigation with disadvantage because Draken's helping you.
Yes, but Sally's also helping.
Okay, just a straight up roll then, no advantage. Okay.
I'm
I have
sorry.
these visions of him putting stuff in the wrong place. Sally putting it back, and you picking up books to read them.
Yeah. So you so Fireval and Ciravel sort of kind of finish up and make their way over, and you find a few texts about you find a few texts about sort of some old Freyan civilizations who used to worship well, it's basically text about the cult and how they used to sort of kind of worship Slagrathel. You sort of see a reference to a book which you have on your person. Did you have the book? Did you get a book? Was it the manual?
I'm carrying several books.
Was it the manual on basically the cultist 101 basically?
Oh, I copied all that down into the back of my spellbook.
Yeah. So you get this sort of talking about this sort of this tome that would have been given to these cultists. It being a banned book, and that in X year, these books were destroyed, or when they were found, they were destroyed, and anybody who read them was summarily put to death. It sort of mentions how that some of the people in this area came down with a sickness, where they hallucinated and believed that they saw things that weren't there. They conversed with people who weren't who they were. How they would slowly start to lose their mind. And they were all killed, basically, as burned as witches, and killed. There was a mention of a healer, who insisted that this wasn't witchcraft, that it was infestation, and that he was looking into ways of trying to get rid of this infestation without the death of these people, but unfortunately they were killed. Well, that's what it says in the text anyway. His name is his name is his name is Adrian Graben. Adrian Graben. He is a he was a healer in the area. And where is he going to be from? Let me get a map up. A thing of all of the he is a where is he going to be from?
Middlesbrough.
Lydia.
He is going to be from I'm going to randomize this. So how many areas have we got? 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. So going to do a D16. One deal day. 15. Okay, he is from Sonus.
Where, sorry?
Sonus, which is in the west.
Okay. Over in the west, yep.
He's from a place called Sonus in the west. He's from Sonus, and I'm assuming we're not gonna have loads of time for you to be jaunting over to Sonus, to be honest, actually. So we will say that after the death, he made his way to Balon, because after the Kyrelian Civil War, he found himself in Balon. There we go. We'll stick him near you so you don't have to go jaunting around after him and stuff.
How long ago was this?
This would have been a couple of 100 years ago. So,
Okay.
If he's alive, he's very old.
What race is he?
He is Sonus. It doesn't say. It doesn't say.
Okay.
So he's he was seen in Balon. In fact, the book that you're reading is written by him.
Okay. I'll take the book to the librarian and ask if she recognizes the name of the author.
You go to the librarian, and you hand the book over to her. She looks at you and says, the treatise of Adrian Agrabin. Yes, a strange character. I believe he was I'm forgetting all the names of the bloody cities in this place. What were the names? Let me see. Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. Why not? I believe he used to be in resident in Agover, but after many years, settled in the town of Falcross in the center of the island.
And do you have any more of his works in your possession?
She has a think about it, and sort of says, "Bear with me," and sort of wanders off towards the a couple of drawers where all the sort of cards that sort of categorize the books are in. She comes back with a book, again written by him, and it says it's basically the it's the cult of Slack. It's like the cult of Slackerthel, a history, and hands it to you.
Do you mind if I borrow this?
Well, it is a library. Yes, by all means, just bring it back.
Of course. Thank you very much. Think I'll nod to Tharival, Drake, and Ciravel and say, I think we've done all we can in here, but I'm going to take this book back to my rooms and see what I can find from within.
Tharival sort of coughs and goes, "Pervert."
It's not that sort of book, my friend.
So you're not going to read it there. You're just going to take it back to your room and read it.
I'm going to take it away and read it. Yeah.
Okay.
In more comfortable and with more time.
Okay.
Without people staring at me.
All right. Okay. What are the rest of you? What are you?
Draken's like,
Draken, Tharival, what are you guys doing then? So he's taking that book and.
Well, the bookworm seems to know what he's doing.
Okay. Anything else you want to do while you're there?
No. We're just about done here.
Okay. Tharival?
no, I'm good.
Okay. All right. So back to you all make your way back to the hotel, basically. Val and Lance.
We were going to visit Lady Tom, I believe.
Yep. Okay, so you go to the sort of the audience chamber where Lady Taunt is. She's sitting there poring over maps and documents, as she seems to be quite regularly these days, and sort of kind of looks up. The guards sort of block your way, but she sort of waves them aside and waves you in.
Valishul walks up and bows his head, and then says, "My lady, I regret to inform you that our prisoner has passed away."
And she looks at you and she says, "My Lord Paladin, you wouldn't had anything to do with this passing, would you?"
I may have conjured up many ways to kill him in my mind, but I never acted upon them.
And so how has he met his demise in my custody?
If I may, my friend, we asked him a few questions after he had demonstrated his ability to influence the barbarian, and we persuaded him to move on. Unfortunately, he decided to he decided to mention after he'd started answering the questions that because he was still joined to a group mind, but in answering our questions, he effectively committed suicide, and the aforementioned group mind made his head explode, to put it simply, and hence we are neither of us in the cleanest of conditions. I must apologise. We got some information out of him, but he found it quite amusing that essentially he had given himself a way out before we could ask him any more.
And what information has he given you?
Well, we started off as an immediate worry, asking him about these seeds that the cultists talked of, and apparently they have scattered a large number of them around beneath the city, and they can only be activated by a senior member of their society group being in presence. But he did seem quite convinced that they were going to be trying to invade, and that as part of the vanguard they would trigger these seeds. He said that they are hard to locate, but they are very fragile as they are. So I wanted to have a chat with some of the engineers and magicians, including Thomas, and my thought was that we may be able to purge the sewers if they are vulnerable using magic or fire or some variation thereon, in order to reduce the chances of this fifth column, if you will, and to at least allow us to be reducing the complexity of the threat we face at home while we look at engaging them on their own turf again.
These seeds, where are they?
They appear to be, from what we learned earlier and from where he was talking, they appear to have been scattered in the sewers and
in Taunt or where?
He said this entire land, but we've only come across them under Taunt, or in and under Taunt, the cultists themselves, and in the vicinity thereof.
She looks very worried. She's like,
he was trying to bait us, though. He was trying to, at that stage, he was trying to get us to kill him, and obviously his backup plan was that if he had to tell us anything beyond a certain point, he was pretty sure that he would be taken care of. So I'm fairly sure that they've actually really focused their efforts around here, because obviously their intention was to have a point of entry that they could use to spread out, and they decided the easiest way was to, in essence, lop off the head.
so she sort of sits back in her chair and looks at you. So you have no way to be sure that these seeds do not infest the rest of my land.
Funny enough, that was one of the next questions I was going to ask before the prisoner decided to have his head go kaboom.
I will have to send word to the other triarchs.
Possibly, if you hold off on that for an hour or two, we may be able to send suggestions as a way on some methods to use to purge them.
She nods her head and says, your help is always is gratefully received. Whatever you can do.
I would suggest that possibly that someone from your staff might try to use the remains as a way to try and learn some more about our enemies as well. It's mostly intact, but it's all still ensconced within the cell, and I locked it behind me. So there's the key, and I toss her the key.
She gives the key. She nods to the guards and says, "Get the local meister and a medical staff to have a look at the body in the cell. Report back to me with any findings."
As regards other things, our colleagues are doing some research at present. It appears that from what we've been able to learn, that the mind flayers themselves, which are referred to as illithids, will often start off as other races, and we're concerned that some of the group may have been infected by what they call tadpoles, which has made them susceptible to influence. So my colleagues are doing some research into ways to find out if this is true and ways to combat it. It is entirely possible that we can therefore send that information out and use it here in the off chance that others have been infected, and that maybe that will give us another opportunity to reduce the potential impact of these cultists.
So she sort of looks at you and she says, "Wait a minute. Who is being infected?"
At the moment, we can only be sure of Draken, and he's being accompanied at all times, because we think this is how the Mind Flayer compromised him. On a couple of occasions, he became convinced that instead of the Mind Flayer being locked up, his queen was. So we dissuaded him, and we made efforts to keep him away once we confirmed this. Hence, myself and Valashul and also Thomas performed the investigation or the interrogation while the others moved on and stayed as far away as possible. But they're working to identify what's going on with some help from Thomas, so that we can neutralize any problem they may be causing for him, and B, help us to identify if anybody else has been affected, so that we can cut that particular threat off.
She looks slightly dismayed and says, "It wounds my heart to see that such a brave warrior like Draken has been infected by this curse. I can only hope you can find a way to heal him, but you must understand that if he is compromised, especially in my city, I don't know if I can have him here. I may have." She's like, I may have to ask you to leave the city for the greater good.
If we can at least try to ascertain the nature of the issue in more detail, we can try and use that to sort his issue out, or he may retire. We may ask him to retire to Camp Ford if we're not sure, obviously. But at the moment, he is always accompanied by at least two of us, in order to make sure that he is manageable should something go wrong. We do take our responsibility very strongly for our own group.
She says, "It may be useful for my own peace of mind, as much as I trust you all implicitly, but it would... if anything should happen, and he is a powerful man, or he is a powerful dragonborn, if he was to overcome you as he has done before, and this city was to be infected more, then it would be on me. I therefore must insist that some of my men go with him at all times."
if we could have that conversation with him, in order before, and then we work from there. It has, as you can imagine, wounded his pride to have been compromised in this way. So we will have a discussion with him. He should be returning shortly anyway from their research.
Roll me persuasion.
Let's hope if I open the right one.
Okay, so she, because of everything you have done for her and this land, she begrudgingly relents to not having him sort of have sort of a bodyguard or a sort of a watch straight away, but she will want to talk to him and when he returns.
I thank you for your wisdom and forbearance, man.
She bows to you and says, "If there's nothing else, I have a lot of preparations to be done for the rescue of my father."
In the meantime, as I said, we will do our best to ascertain the nature of this insidious threat and see what we can do to help you to identify and neutralize it, so that we can focus on the recovery of your father and the rest of your forces.
Okay. So that's that. Here, you were there with Draken. Are you saying anything when you're? Oh no! Wait a minute. You're not there. You're in the library. Lance.
Yeah.
Who were you with? You were just with
Val.
Val. Yeah,
It was with
Val.
me.
Yeah, Val. Yeah, Val. What are you gonna say?
Did anything come of the other parties that went into the sewers, like in the other cities? Did they find any prisoners or?
We didn't.
'cause,
We didn't send anybody
we-
down in the other into the other cities.
Ah, okay. No worries then. No, I've got nothing.
Okay. All right. So the bookworms return. Thomas, are you going straight to your room to have your way with this this tome?
Hubba hubba. Yes, I am.
Okay. Because it's getting late, we can probably leave it there with that and stuff, so we can sort of do what's in the book afterwards. Gives me a bit of time to think about it as well. Anyway. Okay, so does anybody, before we sort of kind of like log off for tonight, is there anything anybody else wants to do?
Not that I can think of.
Just about to have that chat with Draken.
How long's it been since we requested these ships get like retrofitted with catapults and stuff?
Technically like a couple of days, I think, and stuff. But
okay, no,
yeah,
fine.
but again, we can sort of time jump. I think what's going to happen is, I think we're going to get this a period where I'm going to go, without overcomplicating things. I'm going to go, right, how are you going to get these resources? How are you going to do this? How long do you want to? How long do you want to leave it to gather this amount of time? Then you'll tell me a time limit, what you're going to do in a broad brush sort of way, and then I'll go, right, this is what this is, and this is what's happening and stuff. So there'll be like a big sort of time jump for what will become the sort of kind of the main battle, and like the other one, there'll be sort of different ways to sort of deal with it and stuff. Obviously, you know, frontal assault, or if you can sort of kind of peek open a portal or go through tunnels and things, whatever you're sort of kind of you want to do and stuff. But we can do like a broad brush approach to that and stuff. Go, what do you want to do? Who do you want to recruit? You know, we've got certain things we have. You know, we'll talk about resources for ships and things like that at some point and stuff, and then we can just kind of go, right, you spend 3 weeks, you spend a month, you spend 2 months, whatever, how long you sort of kind of want to leave to prepare for this, and then we do the thing.
Okay.
Yep. Okay, so Draken, I guess, do you want to speak to Lady Taunt then as you return?
Well, I think he's a big Lance wants to speak to Draken.
Yes, okay, so Lance want to speak to Draken first, yes.
Friend, may we have a quick word?
Oh, now I'm a friend, am I? Yes, you may.
You're my friend when you're in your right mind. When you're not in your right mind, I find that you being angry seems to help you to assert yourself a bit more.
I use what I know and know what I use.
And so do I. And I would rather have you angry with me than infected by whatever that insidious and, quite frankly, oily and an odious thing was that was crawling around behind your eyes.
What do you propose?
As you know, part of what we're looking into at the moment is trying to identify what the potential is for freeing you from whatever they've done to you and possibly to others. So we had a conversation with your tormentor, and unfortunately, while they gave us some information, they made use of the fact that they were connected to this hive mind of theirs, and basically they gave us enough information for it to reach out and kill them. So we've lost the prisoner, and it will not be swishing around behind your eyes anymore.
But I'm
What it
free
did
of its
give
control.
us was a little bit of information that worried us enough, but gave us some insight on what we can try and look into in terms of dealing with the threat of these seeds they scattered. They are hard to find, but they are vulnerable. So we had a chat with Lady Tont and covered everything. She was somewhat unimpressed with the fact that we'd mislaid her prisoner, as you can imagine. But we can honestly say we did not kill it. We kill it, which is probably a good thing. She is concerned about the potential that you could pose as a threat if something got to you again. And I wish I could say that was not possible. That would not be possible, but that would be a lie. I think you know that as well as me. Yes.
We also find that when my ire is raised, they lose control of me. My rage is what protects me.
It is, but you're not always in a rage state, and when you are in a rage state, you are less subtle, should we say, and more likely to lash out. So the lady has suggested that until we can confirm that you have been saved from whatever it is that is trying to compromise you, that a small number of her guard accompany us or accompany you, so that should there be an issue, they can help us to restrain you before you cause problems.
Jacken just laughs. He laughs very loud and heartily. You suggest 2 guards follow me around.
I think she was looking at a larger number than 2 guards.
Well,
Because
4
she
or
admits
5. This sounds all too similar to what happened to my kind before. We were not trusted. We were demonized. And we were segregated. And we were limited on the reservations because you lot did not like me. You did not like the Dragonborn because of what we stood and feared. And let me add, do you really think those guards could ever stop me?
Firstly,
and may I add, Barival and his brother was in the company of them far longer than I ever were. So I see this as just attacking a Dragonborn, nothing to the elitist elves because they could never fall. But of course, you attack the Dragonborn because we are the victim. We are always your target of your animosity.
Loving this. Loving it.
You do not like us. And you
Can I ask you
never
something?
ask away.
If we wind back several hours, we had a conversation following your threats to batter a few guards and try to free something you knew down deep was a mind flayer because it had compromised you. Later on, it took several of us to get you to control you enough until you got angry enough to get past the influence a second time, even though you knew better. The reason that Lady Tunt is worried is not because, strictly speaking, you're Dragonborn, but because you are a very powerful warrior.
And why
who...
did she not also ask the gods to follow those elves?
She doesn't know about that.
Because she does not trust us. She does not like us. Do not hide behind your words and verbosity. I know because I have lived it. I have seen it.
I'm loving
And
this.
you
That's
have
cool.
really
It's really
deformed
good.
my action.
Can I ask you something, Dragonborn?
Oh, please do.
So you know what I am.
Oh,
You
yes.
know where I came from.
Oh, yes.
So answer me this. You're saying I cannot possibly understand.
Oh, yes.
I was built to serve.
Exactly.
I was constructed to serve. And when I failed, they bricked me up in a room for 300 years, 400 years as a broken toy. And only by the grace of pure luck was I freed. So, you say I cannot possibly understand. I can understand better than most because I am exceeding what was expected of me purely by virtue of the fact that they couldn't even be bothered to destroy me because they thought I was so reliable and so unnecessary of being concerned about. They built me to serve. They built me to die in the place of someone they thought was more worthy.
Yet, for all your vaunted breaking of programming, you blindly followed Lady Taunt without a word of dissent. You are just following your programming. You are just following.
You weren't there. But
neither were you when I and my Dragonborn were faced with the endless reservations and beatings and slavery.
I was locked in a box.
As you are both sort of you didn't say anything to Lady Taunt about Staraval, or you just said that Draken was the one who was infected, didn't you? Yeah. Okay, Tharaval.
I said the only one we could confirm
Yeah.
was that there was a risk with them, but the only person we could confirm that seemed to be affected by it was Draken.
And Tharaval, you're back with Draken and stuff at this time. What are you doing at this moment in time?
Go on.
And Val, do you have, you're seeing this sort of conversation happening between these two? Have you got anything you sort of kind of want to interject with, or are you going to just let it sort of?
I feel they need to resolve this on their own.
Smart paladin.
Ceravel is sort of getting, not knowing Draken as well, is getting a little disgruntled at this sort of accusations upon his and Tharaval's heritage and his people and their people, and sort of moves to step forward as to sort of face the Dragonborn, and Tharaval holds him back. Tharaval looks Draken dead in the eye and he says, "My friend, we've known each other for a long time now, and on many occasions we've had to pull you out of predicaments that you've got yourself into. This is nothing to do with your race, nor the scales of your skin, but the character that you are. But if you would like to make this an issue of your heritage versus mine, by all means, raise your axe, and we will see what the outcome is."
You've all seen the damage that you can do with your bow. So tell me, why are you not faced with the same demands?
As you're sort of kind of bickering with each other, and things are getting tense, Guard Captain Anders walks up with his retinue. He salutes, and says, "If you're all quite finished, Lady Tunt would like to see you, please. Follow me."
Tharball stands to the side and just gestures for the Dragonborn to walk in front of him.
Oh, Draken walks forwards.
Okay, so he sort of kind of leads you back into the into her ready room, where she's sort of kind of doing all her planning and stuff. And she sort of kind of looks up, and Guard Captain Anders sort of like stands aside and lets you walk in. She notices obviously a somewhat angry demeanor within you, Draken, and a slightly less. Well, she sees unease between in all of you as you sort of kind of walk into the room. And she says to you, "My friends, we've all been through hard times, and I could hear your argument from this very room. What is it? What is it that is causing you to fracture in this time when unity is what we all need?"
You cannot even see it. You are so privileged, you cannot even see what your accusations have done.
As you sort of kind of insult her, Guard Captain Anders sort of stands forward and says, he goes to stand forward, and she sort of kind of waves him away. And she says, "By all means, Dragonborn, speak freely."
This tadpole thing that's apparently influencing me. You want to assign guards to me to stop me. Fine, I can understand that. But why not do it with the others that could be affected, that might be affected? You did not assign to any of them. Now why is that? Tell me.
She looks at
why
you.
Why is that other than just simple prejudice?
She looks at you slightly wounded, and sort of kind of walks over to you, and she says, "Do you think so ill of me, Barbarian, that I would assign guards to just you because of your race? Do you think me a that callous a person? Do you think me that racist of a person? In the time you've known me, and the time we've known each other, is this what you think of me?"
I thought you were better than that. You demonstrated you were better than that, and I appreciated it. But now I see you jump to conclusions. It is ingrained in you, just as the wounds in me run deep.
She sort of cuts you off, and she says, "What you see, Dragonborn, what you see is what you see is Lady Taunt of Balon. This is my city, this is my land, and I am trying to protect it. You, sir, are infected with knock-nose. I have only asked that people keep an eye on you, not because of your skin, not because of who you are, but because you as a warrior are dangerous, not because you as a dragonborn are dangerous. I had no knowledge of any other infections. And she sort of gives a quick glance over to...
Really?
She looks over to sort of Lance and says, I had no idea there were other infections in this land. All who are infected can either be... she says, I was allowing you to stay in this city for the fact that what you have done for this land, and I can never repay that. But if you are going to be a risk to this place, then you must leave.
I can inject one thing. If you would not known this, Jack and turns out, why did you not tell her everything?
I told her that there was a potential for others to be infected. You were the only one we had confirmed.
And yet, others were exposed to them far more than I was. You omitted that small part out, didn't you?
Confirm. I said, as I pointed out, others had the potential.
You can
to
choose
have
your
been
words as you
infected.
want, but your actions speak louder than any words.
Tharaval steps forward and says, "Milady, may I interject? Although I believe this is a misunderstanding, the Dragonborn has a point. Although myself and my brother have not shown any signs of illness or susceptibility to this mind flare or what has happened with him, we have been in far more contact with these tadpoles than he has, and therefore we are a high potential risk, and should be treated just as much as a threat as he. These details may not have been given to you, and that is not your fault. That is not the fault of our friend, the Warforged here. He's given you the details, but it obviously hasn't been considered as to time frame of exposure. So I therefore ask that you treat us the same as you treat him."
She sort of kind of looks at you all and says, "You have saved my life. You have saved many thousands of lives in this land, and this is the reason that I will put up with this this." And she sort of kind of looks at you, Draken, on what's the word, on when it's not what's the fucking word, god damn it, when it's not like somebody, uncharacteristic insults. You basically, you simply have this choice, and this isn't a request. This is me telling you, as the regent for this land, while my father is still captive in Kibarath, you can be escorted by guards, not because of your race, but because of your potential for damage if you turn, or you can leave this land. I have to look after this place. I have to look after these people. I have to look after and try and stop what is happening here. If you are a risk to that, then you cannot be here.
I will happily accept those guards, provided the elves are equally escorted. Then I will fully see demonstratedly that this is simply a precaution and nothing more. Is that acceptable?
It is acceptable, Dragonborn, but you have to understand that it wounds me so to feel that you would think that I would single you out simply for the scales on your skin. But as you wish. And she says she says Captain Anders, a guard on all 3 of these members. To be looked at, to be sort of surveilled 24/7 every day until they can prove that they are no longer infected, or until they are cured. That is it. She walks off towards her table. Captain Anders sort of kind of stands towards you and says, if you follow me, gentlemen.
You wish.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, carry
on. Tharaval quietly whispers to Draken, people like us seldom get to have friends or people that we can trust. But your actions, Dragonborn, are burning bridges that you don't need to burn. Just be aware of that.
Beware.
And then walks off.
Then beware, Farvel, that I see and I know the attacks that I experienced, and I will never ever tolerate it again.
All right. Okay. Before we end, Val, do you want to say anything before?
I was gonna ask if would I be able to sense the presence of the tadpoles using divine sense, assuming that they're evil, so I could technically tell who's actually infected and who isn't.
That is a good question. Now, are they? One minute. Let me just check something here.
His math needs to decide whether we're actually infected now or not.
We're at the end of a session, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the end.
Time to go away and scream.
Find us next time.
Yeah, okay. I'll have to have a think about that and stuff because
No worries.
because I hadn't decided if they were infected or not yet. So okay. I to be honest, there was no sort of like idea of them actually ever being infected until he brought up the idea that they were in with them all the time. I was like, they could be infected. As soon as you owned up to the fact that you'd been around them loads, I was like, yeah, they could be infected too. So okay, I'll have to have a think about that. But yes, awesome.
Hi, Michael.
Yeah, that was awesome, man. That was really good. It was very good.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
very good. Yeah. You can all of you can have an inspiration point for some very good RP right there. Yeah, so very good. Yeah, very much enjoyed. Bart Thomas, he took himself off to his room to sort of do things with books.
I've already got inspiration. Can I get even more?
Yeah, you can have 2 inspiration points if you want. Actually, to be honest, inspiration should be used by the end of the session and stuff. So you haven't lost. You've got that inspiration point back again, basically. So
okay,
we have
you're inspired or you're not. I think is
pretty much. Yeah. Okay, so very good. I enjoyed that. I'm the sort of kind of racial tension thing. Amazing, really good,
wow.
Really good. Yeah.
Well, it's just one of the thing of, hang on, I'm playing a character that has been from a species that the rest has been subjugated. Hang on, why am I being the only one that's been got guards?
Yeah, so no, that's great. It's great, man, because that's the whole point of it.
I was like standing there, sort of going, "Whoa, that came out of nowhere."
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, and this is why
it's like that episode in Community when it's like, Joshua's a racist.
Brilliant. Okay, cool. Yeah, so that's it. I will sort of we got applause. Adelia says applause, so very good. So yes, I will put thought to if the elves are infected or not, and then we will sort of kind of go from there. I will sort of kind of go in the Discord chat. We will talk about the book. So if you're wanting to read about what's going on in the downtime, effectively, then check out the Discord channel. It has
TLOS campaign RP.
Yeah, that's that one. So check that out, and you can read about it as we go along. And we'll leave it there. So we may actually, we're not having Danny next week. She said a couple of weeks, so we might have Danny back after this, probably just before the battle commences. But thank you very much. I appreciate everybody for joining us. It's good to see people in and watching the stream. It's nice. So the Ice Geist, much appreciated. And as always, Adelia, much appreciated. Thank you very much. So for me, I've been Matt Geary. With me has been Tharvel Eldon. Michael is Tharvel Eldon.
I'm Sir Tharvel Eldon. I'm a high elf, you know.
I what?
Wes is Valishal Nostius.
Not everyone.
Thomas. Dave is Thomas Moonstar.
Night all.
Mark is Lance.
See ya.
And Pete is Draken.
Good night, everyone, and take care of each other.
Night.